No, it's actually glitter in my tea because I used it as a prop for an Instagram photo and I wanted glitter in the tea for the photo, and then I was like, waste not, want not. Hi, welcome to yet another strange filming location. I'm just, swapping between various people's houses as I live my homeless life, waiting for my home to be ready for me. But today, I am here to share with you guys, firstly, the theme for June, and secondly, my TBR for that theme for June. Just in case you have forgotten what I am talking about, I like to try and theme my TBRs around a kind of concept. For example, last month was celebrating women, so I was reading books that were related to strong female characters and or written by strong female authors. Feel free to take a look at my previous TBR for May if you are curious as to how it works and you want more info on that, because I explain it all there. But I'm gonna jump on into my TBR. So the theme for this particular month is quite simple, and it's just fantasy. So I'm reading some fantasy books, taking some photos of some fantasy books on my Instagram, and I have two very exciting videos that I have planned for the month of June that also relate to fantasy. So I'm really excited about those videos. The first book that I would like to read in the month of June for the fantasy theme is the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicles, which is The Wise Man's Fear. So the Kingkiller Chronicles was a debut series by the author Patrick Rothfuss, who is a fantasy author. It's an adult fantasy series and it centers around the main character Kavoth, who is like this big, famous, like notorious wizard in this fantasy land who has just disappeared off the face of the earth. Everyone in the whole land thinks he's like dead or just gone, but he's not, and he is sharing his life story as to like why he's ended up in the position that he is. So the first book follows him up until around the age of 15 or 16, and the second book I'm assuming continues on then into adulthood, so I'm excited to see what happens in that book. Next book that I would like to read in the month of whatever month it is, June, is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This was one of the books that I tried to get you guys to choose for the novel read-along that we did a few months ago, but y'all wanted to read A Darker Shade of Magic instead, and I am very mad with y'all about that because The Darker Shade of Magic, I barely managed to finish it. I very nearly DNF'd it, which is like the first time that I've ever DNF'd a book, and I feel like we wouldn't have had the same issue if we'd chosen this as our book for the novel read-along. So this is a YA fantasy series. The next book is coming out soon, I think, and this was the first book, which was released last year, and the concept of it is this kind of fantasy land where people have like dreams, as in not like sleeping dreams but like goal dreams, but they don't choose their dreams, like the dreams choose them in this weird fantasy land. And Laszlo Strange is the main character, and he feels like his dream chose him poorly, that he's not the right person to be going on this kind of quest to follow this dream, and then an opportunity presents itself for him to actually try and achieve the dream that he wants to, which I think is like a quest to find a lost city or something like that. Yeah, it is. It's a lost city. So it sounds kind of cool, and I love the concept of it. Like this whole, it's kind of like the one chooses the wizard, but with like dreams and goals. So I'm really excited to read that. That's quite a big book too. That's the fun thing about fantasy books, is that they're always giant. So I've already set myself up for a lot of reading between these two books. The next book that I wanted to try and read in the month of June is Peter Pan. This was another book that I tried to get you guys to vote on for the novel read along, and again, you decided on A Dark Shade of Magic, which is fine, whatever. So I'm really excited to read this. This is obviously childhood classic fantasy. I don't think I need to explain the plot of this to you. At least people know the vague idea from the movie, even though the book is apparently a lot darker, a lot more bleak. Yeah, just dark themes. So I'm really excited to read that and delve into that kind of sad fantasy. I'm really excited about that, and to compare it to the movie. I'm particularly excited at this point because now I have a fantasy book from each major age group. I've got an adult fantasy, a young adult fantasy, and then like a children's fantasy. And this was the point at which I was going to leave my TBR and be like, that's enough. 3 books. Last month I chose like 5 books and read 1 because that's who I am. But I got overexcited. When I was taking the photos for this month and I was looking through all the fantasy books, I was like, oh, I need more. So I've added 2 more books to my TBR. Both of them are rereads, kind of. So the first one is the Song of the Lioness Quartet by Tamora War Pierce. This was a childhood favorite of mine about a girl, her name is Alana, and she has a twin brother, and fantasy medievally kind of land where the girls become housewives and the men can choose to become sorcerers or knights, I think, and the girls can sometimes learn some sorcery but not a lot, or they can become healers, can't remember. She convinces her twin brother to switch places with her so that he ends up going to like the monastery to learn magic, and she pretends to be him and goes to the capital to learn how to be a knight because she wants to be a warrior. And then like once she becomes a knight, she goes on a whole bunch of quests like around the land, and it's pretty cool, and there's some good romance in there too. So I'm really excited to reread that. I wasn't supposed to. And then finally I also got way too overexcited about the French version of Harry Potter, which I started reading last year when I did another fantasy related month last year and didn't finish it within that month, and I want to try again. So I'm really excited to be delving into this. So I'm hoping that it'll be a challenge because I'm reading in another language, but it's a book that I have read yearly since the age of like 7, so I'm fairly familiar with it and it shouldn't be too much of an addition to my TBR. So yeah, now we've got 5 books on my TBR again. Well done, Jazz. Doing really well with the whole realistic expectations of oneself here. And yeah, that is my themed TBR for the month of June. Like I said, my Instagram will be sharing lots of fantasy related books. I've been getting really creative with trying to like not just take photos of them, but like use Photoshop and editing software to kind of make them a bit more fantastical and to add more fantastical elements to the photos. So I'm really excited about that too. I have 2 video ideas that I am extremely excited about for this month for the fantasy theme. So please do keep an eye out for them. I will see you for another video, fantasy related video, very shortly, I am sure. And until then, as always, stay classic.
Sit there and count your little fingers. Unhappy little girl blue.